Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer with a Week 6 recap. We're now in Week 7 of this 32-team franchise. Bye weeks were the Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans, New York Giants, and St. Louis Rams. Let's get to the games. We had the New York Jets taking on the Cleveland Browns, and there wasn't much to this game. As you can see, Pryor was kept under 60 yards, 55 passing yards, 3 sacks. He had 46 yards rushing, which was probably the only bright spot in this Browns team. Then you have Alex Smith only needing 176 yards, 1 touchdown. You got LeSean McCoy getting 96 yards in a TD. Clinton Portis with 24 yards. Alex Smith also rushes in a touchdown. Jarius Wright and Harvin with about 78, 76 yards receiving. Then we've got the Carolina Panthers falling to the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons continue their undefeated streak, just like the Jets. Manning with 234 yards and 4 touchdowns in the victory over the Carolina Panthers. Bell, 89 yards. We see Hill with 96. And then 100 yards receiving by Julius Thomas, the tight end. Then you've got the Cowboys defeating the Chicago Bears and Carson Palmer's first start as a Bear. He threw 4 interceptions. Wilson threw 6. Yeah, it was not a great game, keeping turnovers down. We had 125 yards by Larry Fitzgerald and 2 touchdowns. Eddie Royal was 78. Bears fall to 1-5. They could be in the running for a quarterback, just like the Packers. They've got bottom feeder teams in the league. We'll see how that Winston Mariota draft goes. Then you got the Seattle Seahawks, 5-1, continuing their victory streak. 4 touchdowns by Matthew Stafford. We see Manuel with 210 yards, 3 touchdowns. Best with 46 yards. Manuel also ran one in, 52 yards for Lynch. We see Devontae Adams, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Morgan, 110. I'm trying to remember, is he injured? Yes, Mike Evans is injured for 3 weeks. But Thomas, Morgan, and then, of course, Adams. Man, drafting Adams and Evans on the same team in the same draft is just crazy. Then Kobe Fleener, 84 yards, and all 3 touchdowns of E.J. Manuel. And then we've got the Detroit Lions, who get their second win of the year against the 0-6 Packers. Gosh, they're awful. I do expect them to be the ones likely getting Winston unless they turn some things around. I had Eli Manning for the first 4 games or 5 games. Osweiler in 2 starts, not doing too great. I'm going to see if Taj Boyd, he's a 51 overall, but he might get some starts this season if they are this awful, because they might want to see what they have in him. But just awful. So bad. Tannehill, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Felix Jones and Jaquise Rogers combined for about 91 yards together. 152 yards by Kenny Britt with 2 touchdowns. Eagles squeak past the Saints. Saints having 2 back-to-back solid games, just not able to come away with a victory. McNabb's 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Saints, I think it was the Eagles took the lead in the last 2 minutes, then the Saints overtook them, and the Eagles were able to get into field goal range for the game winner. Giovanni Bernard, 74 yards. We see Deshaun Jackson with 175 yards in this game. Just absolutely dynamic. Already, let's see, it's only got 473 yards this season. So let's see low. He's had 2 big games, 71 yards there. Ted Ginn, I think, is he different? No, he's about the same. Having a more modest season. And let's see, where is McNabb this year? About 1,400, almost 1,500 yards. That's not bad. But yeah, Eagles continue their winning undefeated, 6-0. They keep that alive. The Super Bowl defending champions defeat the Vikings. They now move on to 4-2, so they're getting their season on track. They were 2-3 or 2-2, I believe. They're turning things around. RG3, 313 yards, falling to 2-4. They're tied with the Lions. No real running game. 133 yards by Brandon Cooks, 108 by Baldwin. We see Mike Wallace, 131 yards for the Cards, with Leonard Pope with 100 yards. Then we got the Ravens somehow defeating the Steelers. Actually, the main reason for that was Ben Roethlisberger got injured in like the first quarter, late in the first quarter. So Zach Mettenberger came in as quarterback. He was pretty bad up until like near the very end. He was able to throw a really long touchdown pass. I think it was to the Michael Floyd or something like that. It was like some really big play. Yeah, it was that 54 long touchdown to Michael Floyd. That's what got them the 22-21 lead, and then the Ravens came back for a field goal. So that was a shock. Pittsburgh had all the makings of winning that game, even with Zach Mettenberger. I do think it's funny. You got 6'5", what is he, 6'6"? Yeah, 6'5", Mettenberger, and then Ben Roethlisberger, both with the Burger name. He could be Roethlisberger's successor. Probably not. But that's their plan right now, to see if he can. They are working without their two running backs, Lamar Miller and Jordan Todman, who now he's coming back from injury, so thank goodness. Todman is going to be helpful. So you got a 62 overall, now you're getting a 70 overall starting running back. But Trey Mason, Brandon Oliver, even the fullback, Montario Hardesty, who went from running back to fullback, gets 21 yards and a TD. But Dwayne Bowe, 101 yards, shining performance there from him. Continuing on, the Jaguars moved to 4-2 with Colt McCoy leading the way. He had an interception, but that didn't matter. We see the rushing touchdown by Cedric Pierman is what gets them the 7 points, and then they had 3 field goals to win the game. Johnny Manziel threw for 2 touchdowns. He did have a long 58-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Thompson, as you can see right there. But Manziel, he is not highly overall. He's 57 overall. His action is pretty meh. I lowered his if I can even talk. Lowered his awareness. He's a 40, now it's 42. I think he got a dev upgrade. And then we look at Goodson, 37 yards. Murray, 60. No real performers receiving, but Jaguars squeak away a victory. Then you got the Oakland Raiders falling to the Denver Broncos. So the AFC champs of last year fall to their rival. Bradford with 4 touchdowns, almost 300 yards. Dree Archer, I've been starting to use him a little bit more. So there's Bradshaw, got 95 yards rushing with 15 carries. And then you got Dree Archer, who is a speedster, got a lot of acceleration. I'm trying to use him more in passing situations. Let's see, his year is not too fantastic. He's at, 35 yards. Richardson's only got 0. He hasn't gotten a solid carry. Monty Ball has not also carried anything. That's not great, 3 attempts. And then Bradshaw, 465. So we're trying to get some other running backs some carries. I see 7, 0, 3, and 69. Nice. Julio Jones, 224 yards. AJ Green, 139. Even though Jones outperformed Green, it still was not enough for the Raiders to win. Broncos get the victory. Then the Buccaneers versus the Chargers. So Blaine Gabbert gets 2 touchdowns, 306 yards. Rodgers, 3 touchdowns, 219. All he needed there. Aaron Foster, 59 yards and a touchdown. McFadden, only 33. Josh Gordon has his highlights. You see him with 154 yards. Meanwhile, the Gates is the leading receiver with 65 yards. Edelman, who was traded by the Packers to the Chargers, gets 2 touchdowns, 45 yards in this debut. Maybe not debut, but I think maybe it's a second game. But either way, happy with that. We got then the Dolphins. This is a former Super Bowl matchup between the Dolphins and the 49ers. 49ers won the Super Bowl, but here in Week 6, the Dolphins get their victory 28-22 to stay undefeated. Gotta say, I'm looking forward to that Dolphins-Jets game. They play each other twice, and they're both undefeated, so we'll see how that turns out. But the big shocker here was A.J. Jenkins getting 157 yards. This is the 3rd season, young man, 24-year-old. 1 touchdown this game. Calvin Johnson Jr. only got 25 yards. This was a much weaker game for him, where he's normally getting well into the 120s and 200s. But only got 25 yards this game. But still, already 815 yards on the season after 6 weeks. So crazy. Breeze, 191 yards, a touchdown. MJD had a fumble early, which really cost the 49ers that back and forth momentum. He still gets over 103 yards, which is good. I don't know how his season's really been. Yeah, pretty pathetic. So he gets his first 100-yard game of the year here against the Miami Dolphins. Then you got the Colts falling to the Bengals. So, again, Kirk Cousins is not having a great time. Only 228 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he is 1-5 this year. Derek Carr, the rookie, gets 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bengals already looking a lot better than they were last year when they were the worst team in the league. Drafting Clowney, Carr, Freeman really gave themselves a young nucleus for this team. Looking forward to see how far they can go. They could be a potential wild card team. I mean, I know there's a lot of undefeated teams and high performers like from the AFC West, But Bengals looking a lot better, which is nice to see. Hardy, 1 touchdown, 54 yards, really spreading the workload here. PK Sam gets 132 yards with the Colts. And they got Harkarson injured. They had Patterson injured. Now he's coming back. So now they're getting some of their receivers back. I know Patterson definitely needs some action here. I mean, he's only, played in 2 games. 106 yards his first game, then 24 yards in the game he got hurt. So nice to see him back coming this week. And then the Titans led this game for the majority of the game, but the Patriots were able to come through near the end. I don't know what it is with the Patriots, but they're just not having a great year. What is interesting is that if the Titans keep losing, they really could be in position for Marcus Mariota, like he was in real life. We'll see if that actually is the outcome. Let me double check here. What is his contract? Maybe I can go here. I'll check it later. But again, Jackson, I thought he had 2 more seasons. I'm trying to remember if it was this season and next season, or if this was his last season because he had 2 seasons last year. But either way, Jackson, he's been pretty decent for them, but he's 31 years old, so they may look to go younger in the draft. Greg Jennings, 122 yards. Jamal Charles, the running back, getting 146. 2 touchdowns there to Lance Kendricks, the tight end. So I'll just kind of lightly go through these. There's some impact performers. You can take a look and even take a pause if you want to see who some of these top people were. Whitner there with 2 interceptions. Gotta say, I love Dante Whitner. He has been the league's best safety. Definitely putting together a Hall of Fame career in this franchise. And top rookie, I guess Manziel got a positive review there. Devontae Adams definitely. Hill, Sammy Watkins getting 73 yards and a touchdown. I guess that's high performance for a rookie. So we see a lot of 4 touchdown passes. Stafford leads the league there, leads the week with 383 yards. Isaiah Peed leading the rushing. Only 2 touchdowns from Coffee. Fleener with 3 TDs. Julio, 224 yards. 2 interceptions. There's several 2. 3 sacks for Clay Matthews. He's a beast. And here are some injury updates. I'm not going to read through all of them. But Goldson getting out, not great for Pittsburgh, but they're doing all right. So we'll break down the divisions here. We see again the AFC East just absolutely governed by the 2 Jets and Dolphins. The Patriots now moved to 3rd in the division. They're 500, which is not where they want to be. Really tough to see the Patriots not be as dominant as they normally are in real life, but I guess I did technically build the Jets and the Dolphins pretty well. Then Steelers are 4-2. Bengals just 1 game behind them at 500. Ravens now 2-4, and the Browns looking to be at the bottom. Then we got Jacksonville Jaguars 4-2. Houston Texans 3-2. They had the bye week, so that's why they're 1 game behind. And Titans and Colts at the very bottom. I can't believe it. I thought the Colts were going to be much better with Cousins. I don't know if I'm going to move on from Cousins or trade him away or keep running with him maybe next season. I guess, there's still 2/3 of the season to go, so if he turns it around, then he can maybe save it. Then you got the Chiefs, who are a half game ahead in the West, with Denver right tied with them. The Chargers and Raiders are 3-3, so even though they are only at 500, they're still better than most of the other teams in this conference. Eagles up there with 6-0 with their undefeated season, 3 home wins, 3 road wins. Cowboys 3-3, Giants 2-3. They had their bye week. Commanders 1-5. We'll see if Manziel can turn anything around. Not very hopeful. Then you've got the NFC North, who is just not performing well. I guess technically the Packers have a chance to win the division. They all they have to do is win 3 games. Then you got the Lions at 2-4, Minnesota 2-4, Chicago just 1 game behind them at 1-5. So I guess the NFC North is the new AFC North of last year, where all these teams are sucking this year, but one will make the playoffs, as we know. Falcons undefeated. Then we got the Rams and Buccaneers 2-4 and 1-5 Saints. So right now Atlanta in very good position to win this division. 6-0, 4 games ahead, and net points plus 30. One of the few teams there with a positive net points. Then you got the NFC West with the undefeated Rams, and they had their bye week. Seattle just half game behind them because of the 1 loss. Then you got the Cardinals, and the are 4-2, so they're up there in the playoff hunt. And then you've got San Francisco at 2-4. So if we look at the playoff matchup so far, it's Jets will be taking on the Texans. You got the Chiefs taking on Denver. And then, not the Jets, excuse me. Jets have the bye week. It's the Chiefs versus Texans, Steelers versus Broncos, Jags, and taking on the Miami Dolphins, who are going to be a very powerful number 5 seed. Then you've got the NFC. You got the Eagles with the bye week, 6-0. And then you've got 2 other undefeated teams here. You got the Rams taking on Dallas. You got the Falcons taking on the Cardinals. Then you've got Lions versus Seahawks. As for some of the league leaders here, you see Cam Newton, Brady, Stafford, Griffin, Rodgers, top 5 there with all the yards. Touchdown leaders, you got Aaron Rodgers already at 21, a third way through the season. Manning at 19, RG3, Wilson, and Brady tied with 16. Rushing leaders, you got Chris Johnson. Let's see, is these touchdowns? Oh, they are. Okay. We want to look at yards first. Johnson, LeSean McCoy, and he's played for 2 teams already, but I think he's going to catapult with the Jets, making Alex Smith's life a lot easier. McFadden, the 3 of them are 500s. Then you got Trent Richardson and Matthews. There's about 1 yard apart. Touchdowns, you see Richardson and Tate at the top, and then Chris Johnson, Charles at 6. And then you've got Murray, Forte, and McCoy at 5. Receiving, you've got Calvin Johnson, Julio, Santonio Holmes, Mike Wallace, and A.J. Green, top 5, all with 600 yards. Gordon right behind them. As for touchdowns, we've got 12 from Holmes, 11 from Gordon, Calvin Johnson Jr. 8, and then 7 for Fitzgerald, and then Hardy with the Bengals getting 6 touchdowns, and he's tied with all the way through Baldwin. So Baldwin, Gronk, Thomas, Julio, and Hardy. Let's look at drops for a quick second. So Malcolm Kelly, the veteran, leading the league. Him, Heath Miller, and Robert Meacham. Tackles, you got Dante Whitner, Brian Cushing, Gerard Mayo, Michael Kendricks, James Laurinaitis. Sack leaders, we've got Bruce Irvin, and then Everett Brown and Kareem Martin, Khalil Mack, and Brandon Graham. And let's see, Clowney only has 2. So we look at Khalil Mack really leading the way there with sacks. Any safeties? There was 1. Yeah, Haloti Nada got the safety. I'm still pissed off about that one. Then you got Cameron Wake, Michael Sam, and I think it's hilarious. I forgot about him. If any of you forgot, he was like one of the first openly like gay football players, and everyone was all creeped out about it for some stupid homophobic reason. But Sam, he actually wasn't that great of a player, but he had more recognition because of like the social side of things. But in my franchise, he's already doing pretty well. He's got 2 forced fumbles here. He's at a solo sack. For being a 58 overall, not bad. Then for interception, you got Demario Davis, the linebacker, with 5. Then Harrison Smith, Antoine Cason, and then just a bunch of people with 3. So all the way up here. And then rankings, we had, oh, that's right. I don't even know how to control rankings now because they have a new format. But it's pretty cool. So number 1 team here is the Miami Dolphins, Eagles, Jets, Rams, Falcons, Seahawks, Chiefs, Cardinals, Broncos. I guess I'll just keep going through because if you like watching this stuff, we'll keep going. Pittsburgh. Then you've got Jacksonville. I guess they're picking on Colt McCoy even though he's winning them games. Mediocre quarterback there. Okay. Sanchez with the Texans, Chargers, Raiders, Patriots. Dallas right there in the middle with the Bengals, Giants, Vikings, Bucks, Panthers, 49ers, Ravens. Let's see. Yeah, not ranked QB. Oh, man. Talk about sucking. Bills, 24. Lions, Titans. And then we'll get to the one-win teams. Colts, 27. Bears, Saints, Browns, Commanders. And then the worst team in the league, Green Bay Packers. Well, I hope you like this update. We're going to keep chugging along. I know what's nice is that weeks like 5 through 13, 14 tend to go by faster because there's fewer games to be played. But yeah, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. I'll keep producing this story for you. I hope you enjoy this alternate reality in the NFL. You always look back at older videos to see some of the transactions and kind of updates in the league. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.